Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Variety Podcast. We are your humble hosts. I am Hannah, and I'm joined by Hunter.
I forgot to be humble today.
I know. I'm not surprised.
I'm not humble.
We're not surprised. And Josh.
Hi. I'm also here.
Yes, Josh is also here. Today we're going to be talking about something that I care a lot about because I love physics. Physics.
You do?
I do. I love physics so much that I was going to say I love physics so much that I got a degree in it, but it's more that I started studying physics and then kind of started to love it.
But you ended up getting a degree in it also?
So you did get
I did get a degree in it, yes. I did.
Yes.
It's just the order of events wasn't necessarily,
yes.
You loved it, so you got a degree. Yeah.
Right, no. Yeah, I just kind of randomly picked some things. I was like, I don't know, physics sounds fun. I'd never taken physics before, and then I liked it. And now I teach it sometimes. But today we're going to be talking about physics in video games. Specifically, really bad physics in video games. Yeah, I hope so. It's relatively important. We're going to be talking about bad physics in video games and why we still love those games, or why we love those games because of the bad physics.
Exactly.
So, because there's definitely games out there that like have bad physics, and that's why they're wonderful. The most obvious one would be, I think, Goat Simulator, right? Is the one that we've kind of talked about in our discussions, where it's like, it's completely absurd, but that's why it's great.
Yes. That's the only reason for the game.
Yeah, well, it's like the silliness and the I feel like the term I want to use is like the ragdoll physics.
Yeah, and it's like the ability to lick things.
Right, and summon demons and turn into Satan goats.
Who doesn't love all those things?
Yeah. Who doesn't love being a goat lord and making goats rain from the sky?
Yeah. It's all good. It's good fun. So the first thing we're going to talk about is games that specifically and purposefully have bad physics. So other than Goat Simulator, what other games do you guys know of that have bad physics on purpose?
On purpose.
See, the on purpose part is where it gets really tough because, I don't...
Maybe not on purpose, but like, is the bad physics like a selling point of the game?
So that can be a bit different. I think one of the fun parts, at least, of, a lot of Bethesda games, specifically like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5, and probably a Fallout game. I don't know. I don't play Fallout very much. But I think a selling point of at least Skyrim is just some of the like really terrible physics that are not necessarily purposeful, but just kind of happen. Like you get hit by a giant and you go flying into space, basically. And
see, I've always been kind of frustrated by that. So like I just actually recently started playing Skyrim again, and I was on a pretty long hiatus because I tried to start playing again, and that first bit when you get attacked by the dragon and you're in Helgen and you go through the caves, right, that everyone has to do every time. I was planning on like going through that and then saving to sort of have like a base character that starts maybe like in Riverwood. But just as I was about to get to the end, there's that cart there that has like money in it sometimes, and I tried to jump in the cart to get the money and it killed me. And so back to the beginning of like when you first get into the keep, and I was like, nope, not doing that again. And I put down the game for probably like 6 to 8 months. So like I feel like the bad physics of like you jumped in a cart and it just kind of went bum, 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 and kills you. I've never really found to be the enjoyable part of Skyrim.
Yeah.
I think the takeaway lesson from that is to not get too greedy. But
apparently.
And maybe that was part of the
gun saving
bad physics that were in that part of the game.
Yeah.
But I mean,
we're gonna dial the sensitivity of this cart by 1,000, so it'll punish them if they decide to take this money.
To me, another major thing that's bad physics in Skyrim, but I make a lot of use. I get a lot of use out of is, of course, the horse. You can get your horse like right up the side of a mountain, basically, Like you can scale that mountain with your horse, and it probably takes way longer than actually going around the mountain, but I do it anyways. Honestly, I just try to do that in every game.
Yeah.
Every game that has mountains. Like,
And
nah,
horses.
we can make a shortcut. Let's just go.
I've been doing that a lot in like Breath of the Wild, because I've been playing Breath of the Wild recently, and they have the stamina meter for how much you can climb. But like if you find a place that's like just flat enough, you can like climb up to that peak and then like wait for your stamina and then keep climbing and find another place where you're just like, you kind of almost glitch it out where it's like, nope, I'm just standing here now, recharging my stamina. I've been doing that a lot in that game recently. God, mountains and games. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I recall
the worst.
playing Skyrim for that night, my second run through ever,
Mm-hmm.
and using, I guess, that glitch of going up the mount. To go back, I didn't find the right path to go up the mountain in the first place, so I was going up the wrong side of the mountain. I was like, okay, the road's got to be around here somewhere, but I'm on the wrong side of the mountain. So my roommate at the time, he says, "Here, Josh, let me help you out." He just shimmies me up the mountain in like crouch mode, I think, just to get like up to the top of the mountain. And it's like, okay, this makes no sense how it got here, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's good. It's legit. I feel like I'm not really very good at taking advantage of stuff like that in games. I heard that I never really experienced it, but I heard there was a glitch in Skyrim, and I think they patched it out, but where like you could hold a wooden bowl and walk through walls.
Yeah, I remember something like that. I never used it. I never tried it.
I don't know if that qualifies as bad physics.
Yeah, yes,
That's
it
a
is.
glitch.
Yes, it is.
That is a glitch. That's not just bad physics.
Right.
That
It's
is
not
a
like
glitch.
there's a bad physics engine and like the
It
whole
should
thing
be.
is kind of weird. But yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
just a weird glitch. But like according to physics, you can't walk through walls. So
Well, I don't
right.
know.
not by holding a bowl.
Yeah.
Bowls are the key to walking through walls. Nobody's ever tried it before. That's just what.
I mean,
They would never. Yeah, they never think that they use this cheat here.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to me, I just think, while we were talking about this, and Hannah, is actually the way you said it. I love that these days it sounds like you never hear anybody say, so I started Skyrim recently for the first time. It's usually, I started Skyrim again.
Yeah,
Recently.
I was talking to my dad about Skyrim, and I was like, "Oh, you'd really enjoy it, and it's really fun, and all these things." And he was like, "No, I'm not doing it." And I was like, "Why not?" He's like, "Because no." And I'm like, "Is it because you would very quickly have the 400 hours that the rest of us all have logged in the game also logged?" He was like, "Yeah, probably." Like I think I'm at over 100, like 400 hours on Skyrim. I don't know exactly.
Yeah. I want to take that to another place right now, but that's not what this is about.
Okay.
We're not having an Elder Scrolls discussion.
No Elder Scrolls discussion.
It's a
What
physics
other games?
Discussion.
Yeah, what other games with bad physics do you guys know of?
Well, we mentioned the walking through walls, and I just thought about a game that I played way too much of where you tend to intersect with the geometry and just kind of phase through things. Halo 3 was a big one.
Really?
And yeah, specifically the Bungie Halo games. There was a lot of phasing in with the environment, a lot of good physics with with I guess some ragdoll. They got better at ragdoll physics later in later games, but sometimes the taking hits from certain things was a little skewed because you had I think they took into account for your shield, but then when you didn't have your shield, you went flying. And sometimes even when you did have a shield, you probably should have gone flying. Like with the Scarab fuel rod-esque gun, it's just shooting at you and you're just kind of like taking the hits. That thing is huge. That beam is huge. You should go flying from just that. And then with the fuel rod gun, the actual the projectile that shoots out, it bounces on the ground. I don't think an energy projectile is supposed to do that.
I mean, maybe.
That'd be weird. That'd be interesting.
You don't know. When's the last time you fired an energy projectile?
I mean, that's a fair point.
Yeah. Come on, Josh.
You got me. You got me there.
You got to fact check. You got to fact check here.
I guess we'll see in the. I guess we'll see in the future when and be able to say, okay, yes, everyone, bullets will ricochet, energy projectiles don't, unless you have this type of energy projectile.
Yeah. But as someone who dies a lot in Halo, I'm very familiar with the image of Master Chief looking like helicopter blades as he spins off into the distance.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking, ragdoll physics. I've seen a lot of those when I get killed.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with the game Guts and Glory?
Guts and Glory.
Not personally. I think I've heard about it.
Okay. Before. What about what was it called?
No.
Oh no! It was kind of like the predecessor. Happy Wheels.
No.
You guys don't know Happy Wheels either?
No.
Okay, well they're both Guts and Glory more so is like it's a gory sort of like you're on a bicycle and you're trying to avoid saw blades and cannonballs. It's so fun. It's so much fun. But it's just completely absurd. And it has amazing ragdoll physics and just like blood spews everywhere. And one of the best characters, in my opinion, is there's a guy who's like an old man who is in a like propane rocket propelled lawn chair. Basically. Okay. And so he just kind of like flies around the course and is very difficult to control.
Hey, y'all, watch this.
Yeah. It's so good. But I think especially some of the funny parts are like when you die and like you there's amazing ragdoll physics and sometimes your limbs just like spaz out and like twitch a lot. Mm-hmm. It's just a good time, man. It's so fun and absurd.
Well, and actually,
but I highly recommend you guys look into it.
I guess probably not to the extent that you're talking about, but have you ever heard of Trials? The Trials games, like Trials Fusion.
Are they like the bike games?
Yeah.
I've heard of them, but I'm not very familiar.
They're fun. I'm kind of terrible at them, so I don't play them a lot.
Are they more of like almost like a platformer kind of view where you're like on the side and you're riding a bike?
Yeah.
Okay, because Guts and Glory is more like a not first person, I guess it's technically third person, but it's like a 3D environment.
Yeah.
And you can go over hills and veer right and left and it's I wish I could explain to you like how great the ragdoll and terrible physics are, but you just need to go like watch a video or download the game. It's so good.
Sounds like fun. I will definitely forget that name, so you will have to mention it to
I
me
will
afterwards.
I'll remind you. Yeah. Well, and it's, I mean, just imagine like ragdoll physics, like the equivalent sort of ragdoll physics from Goat Simulator, except you're on a bicycle and you get hit with a cannonball. And just kind of like go flying and flop everywhere, and it's great.
I think it also reminds me of, now it's been a minute since I played this, so I could be wrong, but like Tony Hawk's, I don't remember if it was like Pro Skater had it as well, but specifically I remember like Tony Hawk's Underground and Underground 2.
The only thing I remember was, I think probably one of the most like memed ones was Skate 3.
Oh yeah, that one I heard just had a lot of like glitches, I thought.
Yeah. It was just yeah. Well, and they had this game mode. I don't know if it was an official game mode or if it was like a mod or whatever, but it was like the whole point of it was to see you got points for like every bone you broke.
Yeah. And I remember stuff like that too. I think they had that in Tony Hawk's Underground.
So it's a lot of like ragdoll physics of like you jumping off a skateboard off a building.
Yeah, I think
I
think you got extra points for like
to the ground
when you fell off your skateboard, and then you could like kind of control your character a little bit as they were ragdolling.
Right,
around.
And they kind of like do the worm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's good stuff.
Don't ever.
Josh is not a fan.
Kids, don't try this at home.
No. Do not try
definitely
breaking your bones at home.
No.
You want to go to a skate park for that, okay?
Well, and it's one of those things.
And you can still break your bones.
That's what I'm saying. That's where you go to break your bones. That you don't want to try it at home. You want to try it at the skate.
I think I've mentioned it before, but there was a Polygon video I watched not too long ago that talked about Doom, and how Doom is like technically like slapstick comedy because it's that kind of like gore that makes you kind of like go like like laugh, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. And I feel like the way that they did the break your bones and get points thing on Skate 3 was really similar, because you would hit something and you would hear like a loud bone crunch and you'd see the skeleton, and it's just like, it's that like bite your fingernails. Like, it was great and it was gory and it made me laugh, but also was kind of terrible.
Yeah.
And so I hope that no one is looking at that and being like, this seems like a good idea, because it's pretty clearly like, that would hurt.
Yeah.
They show you which of your bones have broken, and they make really terrible noises, and it's like, okay, cool.
Just like the Mortal Kombat games, where they
I was just thinking of that actually.
Finally added the
X-ray modes.
The X-ray mode when you're doing the combo, and you can just see, oh, look at that, I punctured their stomach. Oh, look at that, I just caused a subdermal hematoma. Oh, look at that, their spine.
I just snapped their neck all the way and then broke their skull, but they can get back up for another round.
See, that's getting to be a little bit too graphic for me. I don't know what it is, because like, I loved Doom, and it really does have that amount of gore that like makes you feel like a complete badass and is fun, and like, it is really gross, but like in a different sort of way than that. I don't know. I'm really specific with like what grosses me out. So like, being decapitated, I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But like, having a rib puncture your lung, my whole body's like, no,
So you could play Doom all day.
Yeah,
you
totally.
Have you played Dead Space?
I have not played Dead Space.
You should try playing Dead Space.
I'm starting to feel like I shouldn't play that.
No, you should play Dead Space.
You should.
I'm starting to feel like I would enjoy that.
You should.
It's good. It's fun. Just play it. Just do it. Just do it. It's fun.
It is really fun, and it's wonderful.
But I legitimately like it goes so bad. I don't know what it is. It's really hard for me to put my finger on like what it is that disturbs me. But like, I literally like had a minor freak out one time at an opera, because one of the main characters like took a knife up her arm. She'd like gone crazy. And I'm like 60 feet away, and I know it's fake because it's an opera, but
they do that real.
Nope.
That's real. They do it live.
But I could watch people getting their heads cut off all day. Whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's different, though. There's a difference between something that's quick and painless to the person versus something that's slow and agonizing.
I don't know if I could ever like really get into like legit like medical dramas. Anytime there's a scalpel involved, I'm like, nope, not into it.
Yeah.
So you probably wouldn't like Hannibal, which is not Hannibal. Excuse me. I'm thinking of something else. No, Dead Space, where it's a little more. It's a little zombie-esque game, and you have all the humans have been killed and mutated into necromorphs, and they're kind of acting like zombies do, and the guy is an engineer that you're playing as, and he has to build these weapons that out of old tools that he uses. Some which I guess wouldn't work, and it would have to exist into the future, but some that do seem like this can actually work as a real gun.
Yeah,
just try it. You'll like it.
It is.
I'm scared.
Good. They got more and more action oriented over the 3 games, but the first one is more horror.
The second one is more horror.
I love to like chainsaw a demon in half in Doom, so that doesn't bother me.
You'll like the rip. There is a weapon tool called the Ripper, which I like using, and just basically just controlling like a saw blade, and to like cut them up, because that's how you have to beat them.
I don't know. I'm skeptical. You guys are scaring me. I don't trust you guys to have my best interests in mind when it comes to this sort of thing.
Come on.
I don't know.
I take offense to that.
Okay, that's fine.
Have any of you ever played any of the Grand Theft Autos?
Yes. I've been playing GTA 5 recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you flown any planes?
Yeah.
Successfully? No. Is that the point?
Hannah, what did you do?
Nothing. Just cost my husband like $100,000 because I crashed his airplane.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's not
it's fine.
$100,000. Perfect.
I don't know. It might have been more than that, but he was very gracious about it.
Did you at least try to do any flips?
I didn't try to do flips, but that doesn't mean I didn't do any.
Uh, I
Giving you
just
a lot of perspective into how good I am at flying planes in that game.
well, just keep practicing. Keep practicing. I did see someone who had took their plane and like I guess flew it off a cliff, and then somehow was able to use that velocity, acceleration, whatever physics, to get it to, and then try to upright it, and then like flip it to where it landed on its nose, or on its like balanced on the nose and the wings.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Yeah, I actually appreciate a lot of the physics in that game in terms of like, depending on, like, you can kind of feel like how heavy some of the cars are, and like you can feel the weight behind them, and there's a lot of like really good moments with momentum. Like, it's really hard to get a big truck up a hill, but it's really easy to get it down a hill.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've been appreciating a lot of that stuff, but it's always really frustrating when like you're like, I've been on a motorcycle and you hit like a pole and you just like go flying off. But sometimes you don't. Sometimes you break things, and sometimes it's like, oh no, there was a stick in the road and now I'm dead.
Yeah. Just,
okay.
You just
cool.
I'm just gonna fly forward here and smack my face against the pavement.
Yeah.
Just like real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a little bit of inconsistency in that way. So it's interesting because I feel like sometimes the physics is really good, and sometimes you're like, what just happened?
Yeah. They're doing their best. And all these games that rely on like heavy physics or real life physics, they can only get better. Especially with these new consoles coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, for the most part, I've been impressed, and I've enjoyed the physics of those games.
So. Well, one that I wanted to bring up, another one was, well, it's maybe a bit cheating. It's not a game, but it's the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Just games.
It's not a game, though.
Whatever.
So, like, because, they do a good job with a lot of things, but realistic physics, not so much. Like, you can jump off of any height, and as long as you land into a pile of leaves or hay or something that just happens to be under every tall structure, you're going to be fine. You're okay.
Yeah. I feel the same way about I feel the same way about Minecraft. It's like, if you fall into 3 feet of water from any height, you're fine.
Just aim for that soft, just aim for that non-solid or soft material. Don't worry about gravity. That won't affect you.
Yeah. You can even, I think, I don't know if I'm recalling something specific, at least from that game, but I feel like there's also a thing where you can jump into like a big pile of clothes or something and you're fine, which that feels like it's even less realistic.
There's a game called Kindergarten. It's a weird game. It's a weird game, and at one point, you are following your friend Nugget, and he dug himself a nugget cave, and the way he gets down into the nugget cave is he jumps and lands on a giant pile of chicken nuggets, and survives the fall. And Matt, Pat, and Stephanie from Game Theory took that, because they love that game, and they mathematically calculated how many chicken nuggets you would need to break your fall. It's a lot of chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
It was a really fun episode, but it's a lot of chicken nuggets.
So I don't know if that would. I'm somewhat now hungry and curious to see how that would work out.
They might have gone into like the elasticity of a chicken nugget, like how much bounce does it have? Like, how quickly does it compress? There's a lot of physics involved in that.
Yeah, they would compress enough, but they wouldn't. But I think a large amount, it would take they're not as dense enough to like cause you too much recoil damage.
I'm not sure what would be better to cushion your fall: straw or clothes or chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets. Maybe, but regardless, it needs a lot more than is generally depicted in games, I would say.
Yeah.
Actually, it could break your fall, but.
And I wanted to say, like, I think it's funny, and one of the better known references of this is in The Witcher 2. It's funny, like one of the first areas, one of the first levels you can play. You can go somewhere in like this town. You can find a spot where you see a guy in like white robes who is like he's dead in a pile of hay because he tried to jump in it. And so it's a clear reference to Assassin's Creed. Like,
That's great.
yeah, it's like, yeah, that's not.
I appreciate
you were
that.
Yeah, you would fall through and you would definitely hurt yourself.
Yeah. Well,
Even if you don't fall through, you're probably at least smacking your head against that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it does not seem like it would be effective. No.
Yeah.
But on the topic of The Witcher, kind of moving into, I mean, honestly, we don't have really structured, we're not having a really structured conversation today.
Yeah, no, we
But
didn't.
That's all right. That's whatever. The Witcher 3 is something I've been playing a lot recently and really enjoying. I didn't play any of the other Witcher games, but like The Witcher 3 is, first of all, just gorgeous and amazing, and I love so many things about it. But even though I haven't played a lot of the Assassin's Creed games, it feels very similar to me. Like it's a very sort of realistic but fantasy kind of thing, right? I feel like they probably play somewhat similarly. I mean, they have different sort of things going on, obviously, but like it's a third-person open world kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I get very frustrated when Geralt cannot jump over a wall that's like 6 feet tall.
Hey, be glad that at least in The Witcher 3, Geralt can jump.
True.
That was not an ability that he had in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not give our warrior protagonist the ability to jump. They won't need that.
They can do everything else, but they cannot jump.
Yeah. But it's like, especially comparing it to Assassin's Creed, where it's like, well, and now that I'm playing Breath of the Wild, it's kind of the same thing, where it's like, you can climb over just about anything.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, I'm playing as Geralt, and I'm like, oh no, a 4-foot fence. What will I do? I guess I'll have to walk around it.
Yeah.
And you're like, really, Geralt? Like,
come on, man. You can do magic and you like
Yeah.
run your sword through like all kinds of enemies and you just can't.
My worst enemy, the fence. Yeah.
My
I like one mission in particular where I was trying to get into a courtyard. I'm like, oh, I found the courtyard. I just need to climb over this wall. And I could not climb over the wall. And it took me like 20 minutes to figure out to like jump down a cliff so I could climb up the backside of the house. And I was like, okay, I have to climb, but only in this very specific place. I was like, really? Come on. I should just be able to jump over the wall.
Yeah,
there are
too many games that do that.
Yeah. Have any of you ever played any, I guess, space physics type games?
Space physics?
Like
Give an
space
example.
simulate, I'm trying to
So
think
like
of one.
Kerbal, I think, space program. I've never played. I've seen some stuff of.
Yeah, like just a space, like a space simulator. Like I remember playing something on the computer like years back, and it was you kind of do like create your own planet, or create like orbiting bodies. Like you pick a big one that has that kind of draws in other solid other planets, moons, whatever, and you can kind of create rotations like kind of make things to like make a planet to like you have the heavy core, then you have like the solid the crust, and you have like liquid on top.
I have never played anything like that. No.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah. I think
it sounds way more complicated than anything I want to play.
It sounds almost more like physics education than a game.
Yeah.
Like, here's what happens when you have a planet with a liquid core, or like a liquid and the solid, and like how do those work together? And I don't know, do they go into like the electromagnetic fields of like spinning planets? Like
maybe.
Like there's a lot going on there.
But I feel like there are some games out there that make you have to learn how to like where you create a planet or try to create a landscape, and you have to set up. Okay, this is where I put a mountain right here, and I'll put some water in this basin here, and then I have to make sure that the level doesn't get too high, or maybe control like the fauna over here and
Mm-hmm.
the weather. Maybe I'll create some weather.
So it's not quite that, but something that it sort of reminds me of every once in a while. Some of the things you're talking about. Have either of you ever played From Dust?
That's what I was thinking of, but I wasn't sure how close that was. What all that you could do in that one.
Yeah, so you're not like necessarily building stuff, but you have to like move a tribe like from one place to another, do different objectives and stuff like that. But you're controlling this thing. I don't remember what like the entity is, but you control it, and it like can pick up sand to move like open waterways and stuff, and you can move it and gather it up into a big ball, and then redistribute it to like block off waterways or move it so you have paths to where you need. And it gets more and more complicated over time. Like you have to do some things where you end up getting like lava, so you'll have to move lava in a certain place and then let it cool so that then you have rock to stop things. And it gets really interesting. But yeah, that's what it made me think of. It also could be one that I guess has bad physics, but it also may have pretty good physics. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of Universe Sandbox, which I don't know much about, but it's essentially, I think you have like planets of different sizes, but you put them into like a solar system and just kind of like watch them interact. I don't know much about it, but that's kind of the only space crew sandbox sort of game that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And actually, one other thing that I didn't know, Josh, were you done with that?
Yeah, I was just I was trying to remember, or if there are any other games like that where you have kind of a more free range, create landscapes, or you're just kind of navigating through. There's one game that you're kind of basically Superman, but you can just navigate through space, fly around, fly at these really high speeds, and just explore like the galaxy, explore like other planets.
That's
well,
cool.
Something I wanted to bring up, which again is kind of a cheat because it's not like a single game. It's not even a single franchise. Just any game that allows you to double jump.
I mean,
like we all love. Who doesn't love a double jump ability in a game?
Oh, so good.
But it makes no sense.
I want double jump in real life.
Right?
Fair.
I would love to do that, but it makes no sense whatsoever.
Nope.
And actually, I was going to mention Doom Eternal specifically, but I mean, then I was like, that just comes up a lot in a lot of games. So there's that.
Yeah.
Also,
good point.
Batman games. I feel like specifically Batman Arkham Knight. I feel like has some pretty ridiculous physics in there. Like one thing I remember that I'd forgotten about until I played it earlier today. Doesn't seem to make much sense is your Batarang will bounce off walls and everything, which seems really nice, but that doesn't seem like that's necessarily how that would work.
Not in any sort of predictable way.
Yeah.
I would imagine. It's not like a game of pool where like it's a round ball and it hits the edge and like you can calculate angles and things like that. Because a Batarang is such a weird shape.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
I guess
the direction that it's going to bounce, it will probably bounce, but the direction it bounces is not going to be something you can rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the one it's the remote control one, so you can control where that hits, and maybe he's got it so it, if it hits off at this angle here, it will bounce off, but it also will do that thing like you said, Hunter, where it will just bounce endlessly for like, well, not endlessly. It'll
as long
bounce,
as it lasts.
Yeah, as long as it wants to last.
Doesn't seem legit.
Yeah, and then just there's quite a few things honestly in that game specifically, especially since they bring in the Batmobile and it can do ridiculous things.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit this person with my car and just send them flying. No, I just shocked them.
No, it was a harmless shock.
I just gave them a little.
I mean, they still got hit with the car, but it was a harmless shock.
Yeah, they still go flying, but no, they're fine.
Yeah. That's all good.
Are either of you familiar with Getting Over It?
Yes.
You get over it.
Yes.
Okay, so Josh, what I want to ask you then is, do you think it has good physics or bad physics? Because regardless, it's very frustrating physics.
Yeah. Real life has frustrating physics too.
I mean, true. Hunter, are you familiar with the game at all?
Again, it sounds like something I've heard of. What's it called? I'm
Basically,
gonna look it
it's
up.
called Getting Over It. It's basically you're a man in a cauldron who, I mean, I guess, I don't know why I asked if it's good physics or bad physics. It's bad physics.
I mean,
No, what that guy does is impossible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
have seen
if
stuff
the guy,
like
if
this.
you're strong enough and you're able
No.
to like,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody could do that.
Yeah, no, I definitely
for
have seen this.
for half of the things he's able to grab on, half things he should not be able to grab onto for sure.
Yeah.
Some things, okay, maybe that could work, but no, some of that is like just ridiculous.
Yeah, this is awful physics.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking about the cauldron because I think it sometimes, like, does it ever splash out, like water splash out?
Yes. I'm watching a trailer.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think
now.
it does, and so you're adding like this whole fluid mechanics thing in there, which would make it way more complicated than it really appears to be.
If you're a man sitting in a cauldron with fluid with water, in it.
Right.
I'm sorry. I love the description of this game on Steam. It says a game I made for a certain kind of person to hurt them.
Like the fluid mechanics meaning like if you're in motion, right, and then the cauldron stops, the water is going to want to keep moving, and so it'll like have a further force, and like it could hypothetically very easily push you off a precipice just from like the water still wanting to move.
Why is there still water?
It also looks like a pretty
That's a good
round cauldron, so how is
Right?
it not constantly tipping over?
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the limitations of the human body are, but I'm pretty sure that's impossible.
You would have to be like yoked to be able to like.
I don't know.
Use that tool to like scale like however high you need to go. I guess you're going to space.
I don't know how far a person can propel themselves. I don't expect
By
it
themselves?
To
By themselves, or do they have like a jetpack or something? I don't know.
No, like with just human muscle.
For me, nothing. I can't do anything.
Well, I mean,
I
if
can
you're
barely
swinging,
get out of bed.
if you're swinging from a bar, you can go a certain
True.
distance.
But like he'll
Versus-
just hang out with his pickaxe like on the ground and like horizontal to the ground, and he's just like hanging on to the end of it.
Yeah.
And it's like no, that's not going to work. Like in no universe is that going to work.
None of it should. It's terrible physics, but yeah.
Because you cannot fight the force of gravity with
Yeah.
no. That's just not going to happen.
So I feel like this is a topic that the more we talk
spin it really
about,
fast.
I feel like this is a topic that the more we talk about, the more things we're thinking of.
Kind of, yeah.
But unfortunately, we're pretty much out of time here.
We're out of time.
So this was not as well prepared a topic as it should have been,
Fun.
probably. It was fun though.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to just have fun and chit chat.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And we mostly stay on topic.
We did, yeah. I even stopped myself. I vocalized that I had to stop myself.
I just sometimes need to express my really weird, like, sensitivities when it comes to gore. Because I don't understand it. I'm just looking for answers, honestly, is what it is.
We're not licensed therapists.
I'm getting very different responses from the two of you.
We will help you in this journey. And we suggest a full
Josh,
immersion.
No,
coordinated.
I don't wanna.
All right. Anyways, next week I believe is Davies. Josh, it's
I
you.
think we're doing.
We got sales pitch for
Yes.
vehicles. So
Vroom, vroom.
So we might have to talk about that and remind me what that is.
we will.
Okay. But that's it for today. So until next time, nerd out.
Yeah.
Nerd out.
Nerd out.